Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's like I said, we call it Victory Monday around here. After you get a big win, and what a nice win we had this past weekend against Georgia Southern down there in Statesboro. It was another conference win, another just all in all good effort. Three phases. One of our phases took a little bit of time getting in gear, but we got it in gear in the nick of time and pulled out that victory. I'm very proud of how we accomplished it. It certainly was an exciting ball game. I mean, you come down and you take a drive with 1 minute 38 seconds and you go score as quickly as we did. And then we have to, fight our tails off to the bitter end with 2 seconds in their attempt to go put it in there to get back in it or to tie it up. So very proud. But, in this day and age, with these Thursday night ball games, you got to put that thing to rest and get moving forward. And we play a great Louisiana team. I think they're the 24th ranked team in the country, another ranked opponent for us this season, which is always nice. And we play them down there at their place. I believe it's 7:30 on ESPN. So we've had to get going pretty quickly. What's really good about this thing is when you get to the 8th or 9th game of the year, or whatever it is, and the 9th game of the year, that the physical part of practice is kind of mute at this point. So we just really got to, I think, go out and make sure we align to execute properly and work on our fits defensively. And then certainly offensively, you've got to know, about what you're doing in your protections in your run game. And, our run game is pretty consistent. So, we feel pretty confident about that. So we're ready to go. We're ready to go play.
Appreciate it, Coach. At this time, we'll take questions from members of the media. As a friendly reminder, if you can keep yourself on mute until asking your question, we would greatly appreciate it. Go ahead with questions for Coach.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned last week that you wanted to have more opportunities in the throw game, specifically in the passing game. Looks like Darren missed a couple throws there on Saturday that had opportunities there. Is it just kind of continue a progression, something the defense was throwing at him, or something maybe with Darren?
He certainly missed a couple of those throws, and that happens. When 2 or 3 of those throws get away, you don't second guess them all that much. Now, when 4 of them get away, then we have some issues, and we certainly have to get better at that. I told him on sideline, hell, I'm telling you right now, I wasn't too happy with him. I told him today, I said, you about knocked out a cheerleader on one of those throws, and we did. We have to get better in that game. But some of the concepts that I think we're doing, we can make him a little bit more comfortable in the pocket, maybe without the play action and, delivering that type of drop. Maybe we can just straight drop back and give him some easier reads right there and not taking his eyes off the actual concepts down the field. But he's going to get better, and he does a lot of good things in a run game for us, and it's going to continually improve. I think he was 16 of 26, 16 of 27, was it? So not just terrible. So he's an effective ball player, and he's doing a good job for us. He's got a great attitude, and he's willing to accept and work on everything we tell him to do.
How you doing, Coach? Good to speak to you after a victory, especially against Southern.
Yes, sir. Sure is.
Now, you guys are going through probably the toughest part of your schedule. Now you
think so?
I mean, it's one of the tougher ones.
Isn't the whole schedule tough? That's all right.
2 straight ranked Sun Belt teams in Louisiana Lafayette and in Coastal Carolina. Last time you guys played a ranked opponent in Auburn, you guys just missed getting the victory. What do you feel like you guys have to do, especially against Louisiana Lafayette, to, especially in their house, to really come out there with the win, with a win on Saturday?
Well, I mean, you got to play flawless. They're a very good football team. Defensively, they're going to try to run the football on us. They're big and strong up front. That's their MO. So they're going to try to push us around up front, and we've got to stop the run to be successful. I think their quarterback does a great job of managing their game plan, and he's certainly critical in their attack. So we've got to watch out for those guys, of course. But defensively, they're real summit offense, and they're bigger guys, up front. They're going to change between a 4-man and a 3-man front, so we have to be prepared for that. But we have to do flawless things in execution in all 3 phases, and that's the only way we're going to win. But we've got to understand that.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach Marcel Puth of Sports Inquirer. Thanks for joining us. Big thing for you spoke earlier in the season about lack of turnovers, but during this winning streak, I think you've had at least 2 turnovers in each of your victories. What's been the biggest difference just from earlier in the season to now on your defensive end to take advantage of or get these turnovers?
Well, I think we've got 6 turnovers in the last 2 ball games, if I'm not mistaken, and then 2 fourth down stops. So that's 8, that I look at. I think being in position to make plays is one thing. We've created turnovers by tackling. The teams aren't just making huge mistakes. We're creating those turnovers through our play, and that's the positive thing. It's one thing for a quarterback to make a misread and throw it right to you, but we're actually creating our turnovers, and that's a great thing for us. And whether it's pressure up front, maybe coming on maybe a 6-man pressure, whatever it may be, but we're making those guys delivered a little bit off target. And then, of course, on our tackles, we're delivering the blows to get that ball knocked out. We haven't done anything different. We try to create turnovers each and every week. We try to prevent those turnovers as well offensively. And just so happens we're getting them right now.
Maybe expanding on that question on the defense a little bit. On plus territory, when the opponent's gotten into plus territory last couple of games, defense come up with some stops and some turnovers, and it's sort of been a big part of the reason why you've won the last 2 games. Do you know where that comes from? Do you think there's just a mentality with them knowing the end zone's right there, they got to buck up, or is it scheme helps you with the shorter field, or
It's just making the play at the right time. It's not like we say, hey, let's let them drive to the red zone and then let's lock them down. We would certainly like to stop them in the minus 30 instead of the plus 30, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. Like I said, you as a coach, I'm not going to give you coach speak and say, oh yes, our red zone defense is really dialed in. And no, we're just making the plays right there. It's good calls from our defensive personnel, from our coordinator to our assistant coaches, and managing those guys to get them in position to make plays. And then it's ultimately for our players to go out and make those plays, and they're making those plays.
Coach, I want to ask you about some news, I guess, that broke in the last hour or so. Looks like your backup quarterback has entered the transfer portal. Just want to get your comment on that.
Yep, he certainly entered the portal.
So I assume that he's won't be trusting the rest of the season or be on the roster, or is he still an active participant with the team?
No, he is not active any longer. As of this morning, he's been taken off the roster, so he won't be with us the rest of the way. We wish him the best of luck. He's a really good quarterback and done a lot of good things for us here. I told him, I said, this game is, you got to be really unselfish. And I'm not saying that he is selfish, but there's only 11 guys go out there and play. And in this day and age, for whatever reason, if you're not playing, I guess you're looking, and the powers to be created that in this whole, you can go wherever you want to go, and we wish him the best of luck. He's a very bright young man with a great talent, and it was a great time coaching.
It's safe to assume that McKelly moves up into that backup role there from on the roster.
It is. Yes, it is.
Back to Saturday's game, especially early on, you were able to get Sam going in the passing game, and I think he got a rush technically on one of those passes out to the outside. Good to see 15 getting to be out there again and get in the action.
Well, listen, we've been battling, that hamstring injury all year with 15, and he's still not over it. I think Saturday evening was the first time he probably felt as close to 100% as he ever has this season. It's really good seeing him getting the ball in his hands. He had that one opportunity there in the fourth quarter down on that left sideline that I thought he was going to pull in. And, I think he's going to do that 9 out of 10 times. So it's great to see him out there getting in the mix, his blocking, his catching, his little slip route running. And it's always good to see. He's a big time player for us that's been hampered, just like McCoy's hampered with the injury. And we're going to be thrilled to death when we get him back. Hopefully Sam's going to continue to get better and feel 100% this Thursday evening.
Any psychological boost for getting back to 500?
I will say this though, you know, when you start out 1-4 and you climb yourself out of the hole, you know, there's a lot of teams, a lot of fans, a lot of sports writers, a lot of everybody would just kind of shoveled the dirt right over the top of it and said, all right, let's move on in basketball season and go forth. But guys, we faced a tough non-conference schedule. And, you know, at times we played pretty good in those games. At times we didn't. And we found ourselves sitting there, you know, in a deep hole, but we've climbed ourselves out of it. We almost can peek over the edge, Stan. You know, you climb out, you get to the top, you kind of look around and go, hey, this is what the world looks like. We're almost there. And I think they can see that right now. We've got really good spirits, and that's a good thing. Like I said, winning cures all, makes food taste better. Your grades get better. Everything feels a lot better. You get more dates, and, you know, let's just hope we can continue doing that.
That was my problem. I never got over 500. Never got enough dates.
You should have found a new sport.
Coach, how was the World Series last night, other than the result?
It was fantastic. I want you to tell you, I mean, I hate to even bring it up in here, but I got an opportunity to take my son, see the Braves in the World Series. You know, a lot of people don't get that opportunity. It was, I mean, you talk about a father-son moment going to the World Series, first inning, grand slam. I mean, I was like, this might be the greatest moments. I mean, it might have been the greatest moment. It was thrilling. We enjoyed it, and the Braves are going to pull it out. But those are things you'll never get back in life. And we could have played Louisiana last night, and I'd have still been there.
Hey, Coach, just another question for you. You guys have beaten Southern 2 years in a row, especially, you know, now you've beaten them in their place. It's the second year row to kind of downplay the rivalry. Does that make it even better, the fact that you guys have just kind of, even though they say it's not a rivalry, you guys are just kind of run right through in the last 2 years?
No, I mean, no, nothing makes it really better. It's our rivalry, so it already feels really good to us. That's the way I look at it. You know, when you beat your rivalry, however they want to look at it or not, but it feels really good for us. We consider Georgia Southern our rival, and when you go beat your rival, it's a really good feeling.
With the Thursday game, how do you kind of make up for the fact that you don't have those 2 extra days you usually do on a game week?
I mean, you got to push everything up 2 days. I mean, you just got 2 days of less preparation. And, you know, kind of my talk to them at the end of practice is, you know, what are you willing to give up? We lose 2 days of preparation, but what are we actually willing to give up here in the next 3 days outside of practice, outside of our typical meeting time? You willing to come over and watch an extra 15, 20 minutes, maybe an hour of film? You know, what are we willing to give up? And that's very important. You know, like I said, it's the 9th ball game of the year. We've seen about everything we can see defensively, offensively, and special teams. It's about aligning and getting ready to play and knowing what to do at this point in time. So I don't think it's going to be a huge issue. But like I said, it is a short week.